So a pleasant day to everyone. This is Group 11 consisting of Ms. Maude, Ms. Narvaez, Mr. Sakay, and yours truly, Ms. Marqueso. And we'll be presenting our educational poster for the assigned disease, which is the solid tumors. So first, for the design, we chose a purple and white color scheme to symbolize pharmacy. And you can see a visible ribbon representing, of course, cancer awareness, communicating the overall theme of cancer advocacy. So for a trivia lang, the most recognized cancer ribbon is actually color pink, which is for breast cancer, but to carry on the official color of the pharmacy profession, we chose a purple ribbon, which represents pancreatic cancer. So these are additional fun facts lang, but our main topic for today is again solid tumors. So for our poster, it is entitled Solid Tumors, No More, Do Better. So why this catchphrase? This is because in cancer management, knowledge is survival. The more we understand about solid tumors, their symptoms, causes, and risks, the better we can act through and early detection and proper care. And sadly, many people and many patients lack awareness about cancer, which means that they don't often know how to manage it effectively, which is why it's vital to know more so you can do better, which is, of course, the goal of this educational poster. So let's start with the overview. Pakizom atiken. What is a solid tumor? So, solid tumors are abnormal masses of tissue that crucially do not contain cysts or liquid areas, and they form when cells grow uncontrollably. And most cancers we commonly know are solid tumors. These tumors can be benign or non-cancerous, or malignant, which is cancerous. And when it is malignant, they can invade nearby tissues and spread to the other parts of the body. So in summary, solid tumors are a major category of cancer, representing many of the world's most diagnosed and treated cancer, for example, breast cancer, prostate cancer, and lung cancer. So let's move on to symptoms. These are the common symptoms which it's vital to recognize these symptoms can vary based on the tumor's location. But here are the warning signs that should never be ignored. Most common na symptoms is, of course, swelling or the lump, that it is often the first noticeable sign, especially in breast or testicular cancers. Next is fatigue. It is a general but significant marker showing how cancer can drain the body's energy. Next is unexplained weight loss. This is a red flag symptom that often points to metabolic changes driven by the tumor. Next is bleeding, such as rectal or vaginal bleeding, which can be seen in colon or cervical cancers. And last is persistent cough, hoarseness, or pain, which are the symptoms we often see with lung cancers or tumors pressing on nearby nerves. So each of these symptoms is a clue, and when put together with diagnostic tools can help catch cancer earlier. So most of these symptoms are actually general, pero ang pinaka-main natin na symptom na kailangan natin hindi i-ignore is, of course, lump or ang swelling, kasi, of course, again, solid tumors ang ating disease. So for the causes, understanding why these tumors develop is just as crucial. The causes are multifactorial, and in our poster, we have broken them down into 4 main categories. Ano po ng poster. So these 4 categories are 1, lifestyle factors, 2, genetic factors, 3, environmental factors, and 4, infections. So let's start with the lifestyle factors. These are the modifiable risks like smoking, alcohol consumption, a high-fat diet, and low physical activity. Importantly, these are the areas where preventive action can make a real difference in the management of solid tumor cancers. Next is genetic factors. These include inherited mutations like the BRCA1 and BRCA2 mutations in breast cancer. The BRCA there actually stands for breast cancer, or the Lynch syndrome in colorectal cancer. Next is environmental factors, things we may not always think about, such as radiation exposure, asbestos, and certain occupational hazards. These are the risks that underline the importance of workplace safety and regulatory policies. And lastly, of course, infections, which can lead to cancer, notably the HPV or the human papillomavirus, which is linked to cervical cancer, hepatitis B and hepatitis V, which is C, which is linked to liver cancer, and the Helicobacter pylori, which is linked to stomach cancer. So that's it for me. Let's move on to Mr. Sakai for his report.
So for the medication adherence, paki-zoom po please, medication adherence. So sa medication adherence, it is critically important for patients with solid tumors, as consistent and correct use of prescribed therapies can significantly impact treatment efficacy, tumor control, and overall survival outcomes. So as you can see, if we miss doses, there's a possibility that the cancer will regrow or spread. So adherence ensures that the therapeutic agents reach their intended targets at optimal doses, reducing the risk of disease progression, recurrence, and resistance. Moreover, maintaining adherence minimizes the likelihood of adverse effect associated with fluctuating drug levels and enhances the patient's quality of life by preventing unnecessary complication. Non-adherence can undermine the effectiveness of complex treatment regimens, leading to poorer prognosis and increased healthcare costs. Therefore, fostering adherence through patient education, supportive care, and regular monitoring is essential for achieving the best possible clinical outcomes in solid tumor management. So, makita naman dyan no, sa mga mabasa nun. So, next please for the proper use of the medication. So for the first part, so it is a regimen. So FECT. So it is the components are the 5-fluorouracil. So in short, 5-FU, epirubicin, cyclophosphamide, and followed by docetaxel. So it is used in breast cancer, no, and mostly we use it for early and high risk breast cancer. So especially in human epidermal growth factor receptor 2 or HER2 or HER2 negative tumors. So what are the mechanism of action per component or per drug? So the 5-fluorouracil is an anti-metabolite inhibiting thymidylate synthase, so it disrupt the DNA synthesis. And for the epirubicin, so it is an anthracycline intercalating DNA, so generating free radicals which causes DNA damage. So cyclophosphamide, it is an alkylating agent, so it causes cross-linking of DNA strand. So for the last one is docetaxel, taxane stabilizing microtubules. It prevents the cell division. So if we focus on the tumor, so how does it help? So the regimen targets rapidly dividing breast cancer cells, aiming to eliminate metastatic disease and improve survival. So that's all for the first part. So for the CAPOX or capexitabine plus oxaliplatin in colorectal cancer. So the components are those. So it treats colorectal cancer. So what is the indication for it? It used in metastatic or adjuvant treatment for colorectal adenocarcinoma. So per drug. So the mechanism of action is capecitabine or that converts the 5-fluorouracil in tumor tissue, so it inhibits the DNA synthesis. So for the next part is oxaliplatin. So a platinum compound causing DNA cross links, so which leads to apoptosis. So if we focus on the tumors, How does it help the body? So it targets colorectal tumor cells by disrupting the DNA replication and repair mechanisms, especially effective in tumors with high proliferation rates. So for the third part is the cisplatin plus vinorelbine in lung cancer. So the components are the cisplatin and plus vinorelbine. So the indication for it is often used in non-small cell lung carcinoma, so in short NSCLC, particularly in advanced or metastatic disease. So what are the mechanism of action for those two drugs? So the cisplatin causes DNA cross-linking, so it also leads to apoptosis. So for the vinorelbine, binds to tubulin, inhibiting microtubule assembly, halting cell division. So if we focus on the tumor, how does it help the body? So the lung cancer cells with high DNA replication activity are effectively targeted by these agents, leading to tumor shrinkage and symptom relief. So for the number 4 sa trastuzumab, Herceptin in HER2 plus breast and gastric cancers. So it targets human epidermal growth factor receptor, so HER2. So for the indication, HER2 overexpressing breast and gastric tumors. So what are the mechanism of action? So it monoclonal antibody binding to HER2 receptor, inhibiting downstream signaling pathways promoting proliferation. So it also induces antibody dependent cellular cytotoxicity, so the ADCC. So for the, kung i-focus natin siya sa tumor or how does it help the body? So HER2 positive tumors which are more aggressive but responsive to targeted inhibition of proliferated signals. So for the number 5, bevacizumab, so Avastin in colon, lung, and renal cancer. So it targets vascular endothelial growth factor, so VEGF. So for the indication used in metastatic colorectal, non-small cell lung, and renal cell carcinomas. So for what are the uses or what are the mechanism of action? So it is a monoclonal antibody inhibiting VEGF, reducing angiogenesis. It also limits tumor blood supply, leading to hypoxia and tumor progression. So that the tumors that rely on angiogenesis for growth and metastasis disrupting their blood supplies. So for the last part is the erlotinib, gefitinib, EGFR inhibitors. So what is EGFR? So it is the epidermal growth factor receptor, so tyrosine kinase. Indication, non-small cell lung cancers with activating EGFR mutation. So the mechanism is a small molecule inhibiting blocking EGFR kinase activity, decrease downstream signaling pathways RAS, RAP, MEK, ARK, PI3K, ATP, involved in proliferation and survival. So tumors with specific EGFR mutations that confer increased dependence on EGFR signaling for growth. So that's all for the proper use of medication.
For the lifestyle and dietary modifications. This will help na mag-manage ang solid tumors. So by these modifications, it will only it will not only support the effectiveness of medical treatments but also enhance the overall well-being and reduce the risk of reoccurrence. So let's break down yung mga key focus areas ng lifestyle dietary modification. So first is the diet. So of course, a balanced diet is very important siya for cancer patients since it supports the body during chemotherapy. And also, mag-help din ito nag-boost sa kanilang immune systems and aids in recovery. It is recommended here na to eat high fiber and low fat food. So by consuming a diet rich in fiber and low in fat. It can lower inflammation and of course improve overall health. So ang mga examples ng mga high fiber foods or mga whole grains, legumes, fruits, and vegetables. Another recommendations for diet is to reduce or limit the red and processed meats. So by reducing mga intakes of these kinds of food, it can help na mag-decrease yung cancer risk. Instead, for lean proteins, instead up for mga lean proteins like fish, poultry, or mga plant-based alternatives. Next focus area is ang hydration. So by staying hydrated, important siya for maintaining bodily functions and managing treatment side effects. So it is recommended to drink 6 to 8 glasses of water per day para ma-help na ma-flush out yung toxins and maintain ang organ function. So by proper hydration, ma-elevate yung mga common side effects like constipation, fatigue, and dry mouth. Next is the exercise. So, engaging sa mga regular physical activity can significantly benefit cancer patients now by exercises like mga gentle activities like walking, yoga, or tai chi. It can improve yung strength, boost ang mag-boost ang mood and mag-reduce ng fatigue. So by this regular exercise can help na mag-faster ang recovery and improve yung sleep quality and enhance our health quality of life. Next is of course the patient or the cancer patient is should avoid smoking. Should avoid smoking kasi ang smoking can also interfere with healing and pwede din siyang mag-lower ng effectiveness of treatments and increase the risk of cancer recurrence. So by quitting smoking, it improves lung function and reduces the risk of other smoking-related diseases. Next is to limit alcohol. Of course, alcohol consumption should be minimized or avoided. So it is recommended that it is recommended here na dapat no more than 1 drink per day, no, or dapat like wala, hindi ka na lang talaga mag-inom. So kasi ang alcohol can interfere with medications and increase cancer risk. Yun nga, it is recommended to limit intake or to no more than 1 drink per day for women and 2 for men. So next is the sun protection. So it is recommended here to use sunscreen if on EGFR inhibitors. So these drugs kasi can cause skin sensitivity and rashes. So by using sunscreen and wearing protective clothing, it can help na ma-prevent ang ganito mga side effects. And lastly is the mental health. So by managing our mental health, it is very important para hindi na tayo ma-stress and such. So by joining support groups, it can provide emotional support and ma-reduce yung feelings of isolation. So may mga practices tayo dyan like meditations, deep breathing, and mga guided imagery na maka-reduce ng stress and anxiety. So in summary, ang lifestyle and dietary modifications are not just supportive, but they are a crucial part of cancer care. So, these healthy habits empower patients and maka-improve din ng kanilang treatment journey.
So next are the key advices in taking oral chemotherapy drugs. So first, patients should take oral chemotherapy medications such as capecitabine with food to improve absorption and reduce stomach irritation. It's essential also to report any fever, skin rash, or diarrhea immediately, as this could be early signs of adverse drug reactions or infections. Then, additionally, anti-nausea medications like ondansetron should be used as prescribed to manage treatment-related nausea and vomiting effectively. Lastly, know when to get help. Any fever above 38 degrees Celsius during chemotherapy must be treated as medical emergency, as chemotherapy as it could indicate neutropenic sepsis, a serious and potentially life-threatening condition caused by low white blood cell counts. Patients should also seek immediate medical attention if they experience unusual bleeding, extreme fatigue, new or worsening pain, or persistent vomiting or diarrhea. These symptoms may signal complications that require urgent evaluation and care. Providing patients with practical advice and ensuring they know when to seek help can significantly reduce risk and improve treatment outcomes. Education and vigilance are key. So to wrap this up, remember, solid tumors may start as a small mass, but their impact can be massive. Through knowledge about symptoms, risk, prevention, and effective management, we can intervene early, improve outcomes, and ultimately save lives. Thank you for listening. This report was prepared by Group 11 members, Marqueso, Sakai, Maude, and yours truly, Narvaez.
Huwag ka ba lumahan sa isaw?
Okay na.